Hi, in this tutorial, we'll be covering logistics within operations. Logistics within operations or logistics manager, how we call it in IntelliEvent, is a great way to get a full view of the logistics of any given day or any given span of days for any outgoing or incoming plans that you have for orders, purchase orders, or warehouse transfers. The way that we're going to reach the logistics manager is by going into our hamburger menu here and going into operations and then clicking on logistics, which will take us to our logistics manager. A couple of things to note here is that you will only see logistics plans for jobs that are active, jobs that are invoiced, jobs that are in accounting status, and in the tentative status. Those are the only statuses that reserve gear. The other thing to remember is that I'm going to span my dates here. The other thing to remember is that the action dates that are being used here are action date 1 and action date 5 for both outgoing and incoming respectively. So if you're looking at the dates for the logistics manager, they should correlate to action date 1 for the outgoing plan on a job, and then action date 5 for an incoming plan on a job. Since this is our logistics manager, we can see this holds a lot of information about what items are leaving a warehouse and coming back to a warehouse depending on the order. And we can change the view of which warehouse we want to see. If we want to see the warehouse, our Tennessee warehouse, and what items are outgoing and incoming for any given date, we can do that here. We can select each of these edit pencils and have that take us to the same window, but for a different warehouse. I've expanded my dates here just to get a few more lines in my report. Another thing to mention here is that if I double click on any line here, it will take me to a checkout or a check-in depending on the direction of that plan. So if it's outgoing, it will take me to my checkout. And if it's incoming, it will take me to my check-in. If I do a single click on one of these lines, then it will populate my detailed window for that plan, which you can see here below. And it gives you a couple of options. It gives you a view of what items have been booked on the job. If anything's been checked, which you can see here, we have checked some gear out, and then what the balance is. The balance is one of the most important things when you're checking out gear. It tells you that you're done with packing that specific line item or that specific product. So if my booked is 2 and my checked is 2, my balance should be 0. I'm all good to go. I can edit my logistics plan here by going to this edit pencil or this edit button. And that will give me a little bit more information as far as what weight of the products that I have on there are, how I can select my ship by, which is an option to choose how you're shipping those items, whether it's UPS, FedEx, DHL, and whether it's overnight, whether it's UPS ground. All of those are customizable to your own Lightning site. And another thing that you can do inside this page here is to look at your tracking numbers and also update the tracking numbers if you're adding that for review of your operations team. You have a couple of different options of filtering this grid. The first one being which direction the plan is going. So if it's outgoing or incoming, you can select that here and it will interactively change the view for you. So it all depends on what your operations staff wants to be seeing at any given point. Again, the dates are the spans of action date 1 and action date 5. If you're looking for a specific job number, you can filter for your dates. And it will show just the job that you're looking for if the job is within the dates that you selected. Okay. You also have the ability to hide all packed logistics plan, which means these have either been fully checked in or have been fully checked out. So right now we see these two incoming plans that are fully packed. And I can see that here. If I hide my packed ones and I refresh my grid, we will not see those logistics plans anymore. So we can see that we can only see logistics plan that we need to make some action on. I'm going to refresh my grid here. You also have the ability to filter just by jobs or by purchase orders if you have any. If you're looking for a specific job name, you can also do that here. As you can see, I'm just going to be looking for this ABC Consulting outgoing. If I refresh my page, here goes my ABC Consulting outgoing. Okay, I'm going to back to my refresh. You can also search by tracking number if you're searching by a specific logistics plan. That is however many. That's the filtering ability of this report. The refresh button is just to refresh the grid. The receiving function will take you to our logic for global check-in, which is a different page that will be covered in our other tutorials for global check-in. And then you can save the grid, which basically saves this grid to an Excel sheet that you can then look at in your local PC. Next, I want to touch on my headers here and what these columns do. So booked is pretty simple. Any job that is active, invoiced, tentative, or accounting will be always booked, and it will always have a logistics plan created to it. Packed, it will give me that exclamation point if I haven't completed my scans, and it will give me a check if I've completed all my scans. I also have my logistics ID, which is basically your transport plan ID, which correlates specifically to that line that you're looking at. And then you have your job number, which is your order number, which is where you go to book all your gear, book all your labor, quote the client, that's that sort of thing. You have your job name here, and then you have your action date column, which for outgoing will be action date 1 on the job, and for incoming, it will be action date 5. You also see your direction here. You see the items that are booked on each of those logistics plan or those orders. Your ship from, whether, if it's incoming, it's coming back from a venue. If it's outgoing, it's shipping from your warehouse. The ship to, same thing, but vice versa. If it's incoming, it'll ship to your warehouse. And if it's outgoing, it will ship to the venue on the job. Ship by, as I mentioned, is fully customizable, and you can choose that within the actual logistics plan. You can route from this logistics manager, and for more information on routing, you can check out our routing tutorial. Vehicle and driver will also be tied to routing, and that all has to be done from the routing module. And then you have your bay location, which is basically a way to choose and let your operations staff know, or their own staff, where a show is being packed from and where it's going to be going to if you have different bays. For example, in our manager here, we have a North Bay and a South Bay. So you can check that there. When you refresh the grid, that will let you know where that's being saved on. If right here we have a legend where it gives me some information on the job number color here. If it is green, the highlighted job number is because of the status. If it is orange, then it's a tentative or it's a credit. And if it's red, it is logistics plans that are tied to a canceled job. Again, This is only the job number column cell here. These highlighted yellow and red plans are for if you are in a job and you create a job level hold, that one will be yellow if you alert the checkout. So if you give an alert to your operations team, hey, maybe you need to pack this job at 9 a.m., then this will give you a yellow banner across the logistics plan. And if it is a red banner on that logistics plan, that means that somebody has added or a user has added a hold for locking the checkout, which means you will not be able to scan any items if you don't have the security level to do that. The reason they may do that is maybe they need a certificate of insurance that the client hasn't signed or approved yet, and that way they can check that out before allowing any operations staff to fulfill this job in their warehouse. Couple of more things that I want to touch on before I let you go is you can single click on one of these lines and you can go straight to the checkout from this button. You can print your logistics plan, which what that will do is it will print a PDF of all the items that are tied to that order, regardless of them being checked out or checked in. You can also print a packing list, and this will only print items that have been checked out. So for this specific product, we've only checked, actually this incoming plan, we haven't checked anything. Let's look at this, or let's look at this outgoing plan here. We have checked all these items, and if I print my packing list, you will see that these items will be in that packing list, but we won't see any others because they haven't been checked out. And then if you want a shipping label to print to tag on your cases or on your shipments, you can do that through here as well. Thank you very much for joining our tutorial. We hope that you sign with IntelliEvent. Thank you very much.